Okay, sorry, Mum, I need a haircut. I know, no hairdressers are open. Okay, so why am I making this video today? Um, I feel like, with the way things are at the moment, the best thing you can do is structure your day really well. And everyone leads different types of lives. My sister's got kids and she's got to do a lot of running around for them. But I have a bit more free time, and so do some of my friends. So I thought this video might help of good ways to spend your time, like on a daily basis. A lot of friends come to me when they've got scientific or technological based questions. And yes, my background's technology, but I didn't study A levels or go to university. I kind of taught myself just by reading, things about science. So I wanted to like impart this knowledge and the way of thinking so you can um, understand the world around you, and help yourself and make yourself feel better through what's going on at the moment, and whether this is going on or not, regardless. So a few years ago, I decided that quantum physics was the future of science and the way the world the be the best thing for me to learn. Um, so I started trying, by watching lots of YouTube videos, and I even started an Open University degree course in starting to understand that subject of quantum physics, quantum field theory. But I soon realised, like, I would be here for probably 20 years trying to understand this subject. And many people I speak to who are very specific in a field, which we need rocket scientists, we need neurologists, we need people who are very specific. But if you feel like you need like a more well-rounded knowledge and you've got a bit of free time in the mornings at the moment, I recommend having a more well-rounded knowledge. So when I was young, my granddad always said, "Look, don't be a jack of all trades. Learn one thing." So I was just addicted to technology. I started coding when I was very young, and I did okay in the world of tech. But that's all I know. Until a couple of years ago, I didn't really know anything else about finance or about science. So this is what I want to impart now: is um, how to basically structure your day at the moment and how to structure your day in the future. And the first thing I'm going to cover about how to structure your day is what I do for the first 2 hours in the morning. So rather than sticking to just spending 2 hours on quantum physics, which I did for a couple of years, I now pick a new subject, a scientific subject. So it could be in anything. I don't even have to look. They seem to just come. Somebody will ask me a question, or I will need to do some research for myself, and the topics are endless. So I give an example of something that somebody said to me yesterday. Somebody said, "James, look, my friend Lincoln said, James, if you want to reduce your iron levels, because I do want to reduce my iron levels, did you know that drinking hydrogenated water is good for you?" And now I couldn't find any evidence to back that claim up, but I thought, okay, that's cool. So how do I make hydrogenated water? So I went online and I bought for £30, a small glass that has got battery operated or USB operated, and it adds a hydrogen atom to water. But I really wanted to understand how it works. So I set my morning to understanding the hydrogen atom. Now, at school, I just couldn't understand what a hydrogen atom was. I knew it was number one on the elementary table. I think I remember, a hydrogen balloon exploding when I was at school. And I also, obviously, I've heard of the hydrogen bomb, but that's kind of it. So I thought, for some reason, as I'm getting older, my capacity to learn seems to be better than when I was at school. So I can, and I think that's partly due to when you search online. If you go onto YouTube or Google, you can say, okay, what does this look like under a microscope? And you can actually see what atoms look like under a microscope, because at school it was more very theory based, and I remember those plastic molecular structures, but I could never really, conceptualize it in my head. And I think the way to do that is to bring it into the real world. So with hydrogen, for example, that I've been researching this morning for 2 hours, trying to understand and get my head around that particular atom, there was a test you could do where you get a plastic cup of water, which I did. I put 2 pins in the bottom, metal pins, put a 9-volt battery there, and immediately around the 2 pins started getting bubbles. Now the negative pin attached to the negative part of the battery was a hydrogen gas, and the positive part was oxygen. So I've successfully not split the atom, I've successfully partitioned hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So I've now already in the real world got a bit more of an understanding of how this works. I just typed on Google, how do you separate hydrogen from oxygen? And it said electrolysis, you just pass a current through the water. Your brain kind of just goes, when you open your brain in this type of way, it just starts looking and questioning everything, which I think is a kind of good thing. So I said, okay, well, water's made of hydrogen, H2O, so it's 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen. Why doesn't water set light? Because hydrogen's really flammable, as you know from the air balloon, and oxygen, you need oxygen to make a fire. So I then saw another experiment online where you could actually put a plastic bag over the hydrogen bubbles, tie it up, let it go, and it will go into the air. So it's to the sky. So it's really another way of bringing the experiment that you're trying into the physical world, and that's what helps my brain understand and conceptualize all of this information. And I'm kind of recommending this way. I can't give advice to anyone or tell anyone what to do at all. This is purely something that I feel would be beneficial for friends to learn, and a great way to structure the day. I'll talk about the other parts of the day later on, but this is for the morning, for the first 2 hours when your brain's kind of getting into gear. You can have a coffee, you can research a science-based area, and mine is hydrogen. Today I probably will spend another 2 days, so another 4 hours researching hydrogen. Last month, my morning science routine, I've been doing this for 3 years now, was understanding cells. I looked at cells I actually bought a microscope for £100 on Amazon, and I started looking at skin cells and understanding how stem cells work and all the parts in between. And I actually stuck with that for a month because one morning wasn't enough to learn how cells and mitochondria and cytoplasms and all this stuff works. But now I've got a good understanding-ish of how the cells in my body, the different cells in my body work. And I've got an introductory understanding to hydrogen. But in the next 2 days, I will have a much better understanding of hydrogen. And the key to doing this is that after a while, what I've noticed is that everything kind of fits together. So I'll then start looking at, I was looking at plastics in the ocean, polyethylene, single-use plastics, why this, how do you clear them up from the ocean? And I started seeing that, polyethylene's made of hydrogen and carbon, and now I know a bit more about hydrogen. And not just to learn atomic structures of particles, but of molecules, but of all science-based things. And then I started realizing that all the stuff I'm looking at as cells is actually really helpful now when I read some research on RNA viruses or so it kind of like all fits together and gives you this really well-rounded knowledge. And I get a rush from it. I get a real buzz when I learn something new. It's like a new synapse is firing. I'm sure it is, but it feels like that. It feels like I've just learned this new thing. It's the same as driving a fast car or going out with your friends on a Saturday night. It doesn't last as long, but it's a similar type of rush that I get just sitting indoors on my own, learning that. And then, as I said, you can piece all of these elements together, excuse the pun, you can bring all these things together and have a well-rounded view of how the world works. And this is something you can take to the grave. I mean, this information is going to last forever, in my opinion. It's not like earning money that's kind of finite and or it's nothing to do with any form of ego or, you know, showing things off. It's just learning for yourself how the world around you works. And yeah, so that's my suggestion. I won't repeat all that stuff again. That's really just my suggestion for how to spend 2 hours in the morning on science-based studies. And I'll do another video on what I do in the afternoon and the evening, which again are kind of productive things that make you feel good and help other people. And if you find it useful, then let me know, and I'll upload a few videos on this subject. Cheers, guys.